How are you today?
Uh, well,
Oh,
thanks for joining me today. Uh, as I understand it, you have all the answers to all our problems, social and otherwise. So,
me?
yeah, if you want to
Uh,
share that with the world,
I think you were misinformed.
I'm all ears.
I don't have all of them. I have a couple, but I don't have all of them.
Oh, okay.
What
Yeah,
What are your
everybody has a
particular issues?
couple. Everybody has a couple. That's why they
Everybody
all.
has a couple, yeah,
That's why we all have podcasts. Yeah.
exactly. But it was just like, oh man. And then I ended up being there till almost 6, and I normally get off work at 5, so I'm there till almost 6. I go out to my car, and I'm just flustered or frustrated, or I'm I'm just like, oh.
Well, it's the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Sure.
it's a Friday, and it's the
hmm
end of the month, and
hmm
I get in the car and I roll open the sunroof and I light a cigar and I start driving, and I'm just like totally.
You sound like the kingpin. I have him on my brain because I watched through Daredevil again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all three seasons.
So
Yeah.
it was just the. We'll get back to that, but
Yeah.
so then I get in the car and I drive. It's an hour drive home, and I kind of completely forget about everything. And when
Yeah.
I turn off the car, my phone beeps, and I look, and I've got 3 text messages. The one from you, which I had seen already, but hadn't responded to, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta respond to Paul and my other another and 2 other friends. And I was talking to our friend Erin yesterday,
Yeah.
and I said, 3 people send me a note or a text message. None of them are inviting me anywhere. What the hell is this? It's Friday night. Come on, let's do something. And so then I responded to you. I came in the house. I sat down for a second, and because I had been thinking about what we had talked about, but I hadn't like finalized them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had literally had to sit down and go, okay, this, yes, this, yes, this, yes, this, no, that's dumb. This one, okay. And then I texted you, and then I texted my other friend back, and I texted my other friend back. And one was just a check-in. She was seeing how I was doing. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and she goes, "How you doing?" And
Well, that's always good to have.
that's always good to have.
That somebody out there is making you
Yeah.
some kind of priority. Yeah.
And so, but it was just weird because I won't get text messages all week, and then to get 3 in one basically short time period, couple hours. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah. One was homework from
One
me.
was homework, which was fun. I mean, I literally did think about it a couple times during the week where I'd just be.
Yeah.
It was mostly either right before or right after I turned on the TV. Like I'd be sitting out in the garage with a cigar and contemplating things, just like, what about this? Is that my business? Or like going to bed, and I'd be laying there just thinking, waiting to drift off to sleep, and I'm thinking, oh well, maybe this, that, oh maybe that question.
When you're not
So
thinking about it, that's when the best questions come
yeah,
to you, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's somewhere
um,
in the back of your mind, and then like you're taking a walk or you're taking a shower or something, and say,
yeah,
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be
that'd be a
interesting
good one.
subject. Yeah. I gave Erin an open invitation to join us anytime,
Yes,
which I know you're 100%
yeah,
for. And she writes me back. She's like, "Well, I don't want you to feel obligated to invite me." I said, "We want you involved. We want you to
yeah,
be on as much as you want to be on. That's why I'm sending you an open invitation. And I don't want her to feel obligated to join us if she's not in the mood or if
right,
she can't.
right.
So it goes both ways. But yeah, I said, don't feel weird about joining us. It's.
We like seeing you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's
So
like if we were just going to hang out, we'd always want
yeah,
her to be there. Sure.
exactly.
Yeah. So do you understand now? Okay. Did I make myself clear? Jeez. Yeah. So, Bill, how's your chaos going in your city?
Uh, you know what? Fortunately, small city. I haven't heard of anything.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
That's great.
I'm well. I mean, we're 100,000 people, and uh, I'm sure something was going on somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't
Oh,
hear about
definitely
it.
in L.A. Yeah, or
Oh yeah,
California.
LA.
Yeah.
But where I live is 3 hours away from LA.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's yeah, it's I haven't heard anything going on specifically here. But yeah, LA has been what I saw on the news was kind of crazy.
Well, I kind of speculated something would happen in Philly,
Yeah.
but I wasn't aware of it yet until my ex told me about it this morning.
Oh shoot. Okay.
And
I
then I went on my, my news source, YouTube. And sure enough, it started off peacefully enough.
yeah.
And then the looters and chaos experts just ramped up and they broke all Center City store windows and looted. And it's good. We have a statue of Mayor Rizzo, Frank
Mm-hmm.
Rizzo, and they defaced it because he was a former cop.
Oh, what was he?
Yeah, he was a former cop, and I I don't want to speak to how long he was in the force for, but they spray painted it. They tried to burn it. It's an iron statue, so it has
Wow.
scorch marks on it. But they probably tried to behead it. There's a rope on it. They tried to pull it down, and one of the first thoughts I had was, "How's the Rocky statue? How's that?" It's a Rocky, okay. Because I know they were around the art museum, and as far as I could tell, the Rocky statue's okay.
Rocky's
They
okay.
didn't try to mold a mohawk into him like Clubber Lang or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's unfortunate that these things happen. There are certain elements. What?
Yeah. Well, I think they're just taking advantage of the
That's
chaos.
it.
Yeah, it's
There's
certain people are doing bad things on other days,
right.
but on this,
There's genuine anger. There's genuine frustration. There's a
oh yeah,
genuine call to change because
I see them
it,
as separate things. I don't
it
see them.
keeps happening, right? But the protests, the genuine protests that are valid and there needs to be a change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, are just a ground cover for these people who come in and they're just looking for a way to cause chaos,
Mm-hmm.
to loot, and in the open. I
Yeah.
mean, these are people who do bad things probably
Well,
in
they
general.
turned over cop cars. They set them on
Yeah.
fire. Um,
Well, and the cops are okay. I don't want to get into a whole cop bashing thing. I'm not a huge fan.
mm-hmm.
I like that they're there. I like that, when something bad happens, you
Well,
can
we
call the
need
cops.
something.
You need something, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is the quote unquote thin blue line. Everybody rallies behind, all the cops rally behind other cops when they do stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be a cop, you need to uphold the law, and that includes cops.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I don't think that's the case now. I think there are cops speaking out against their own.
there are in this case.
In this
How
case.
long has this been going on?
Oh,
how many
for
years? This is since the inception of this country almost.
Mm-hmm.
This has been going on. The powerful use and abuse the less powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so and it's a structured systemic racism in this country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like
corruption.
At a
Racism.
certain point, every time these things happen, people get moved to do something. That's where the protests come from. There's going to be a small element inside of that that's always willing to go to violence. And then you have the other small group within that are not technically within that group, but they're always looking for chaos. They're looking for something to do. And then when the cops come in, like the Gestapo and stormtroopers, and they're just like Did you see them? They knocked down some old man who was walking with a cane in,
I didn't
think,
see that
Utah.
particular one. No.
Yeah, I think that was in Utah or Colorado. And it was like they come in, they get all their gear on and their shields and their face masks and everything, and they start walking down the street like I said, the laws apply to everybody, including cops. Yes, you're doing your job. Yes, you're doing a tough job. But that doesn't make you right. You still have to think. You still have to obey the law. And you, with 4 other guys, walking toward, or with 3 other guys, there were 4 of them altogether, walking towards, it was 2 individual guys that not together, it didn't look like, but they were trying to push back the quote unquote crowd. What I saw was 2 guys. One was a guy probably in his 50s, and they pushed him out of the street and back onto the sidewalk, and then like behind a barricade. It was up the street. And that guy was like trying to get away or whatever he was doing. I mean, I'm sure he was confronting the cops at some point, but he finally turned and walked away. And then they see this old man who's probably in his late 60s or 70s, but he's walking with a cane. And you can see he looks confused. To me, he looks confused. Like he doesn't quite know what's going on, but he's at the edge of the barricade. He's in the street and he's starting to turn, or at least the video I saw, it looked like he was starting to turn, starting to go. And they push him once and he kind of backs up. And as he turns to start walking, and then you can see that he has a cane. The one cop pushes him in the back and knocks him to the ground. And then the old man can't get up. And I'm just like, in doing their tough job, they lose their humanity. That's my opinion.
Well, they're people too. That's
right.
That's their
all
fault.
All the more reason that everybody else has to call them out.
Mm-hmm.
If your job is to protect humanity and you are the cause of hurting humanity, all the other humans in that job need to call that dickhead out. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
There is no thin blue line.
Well, I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I mean, a lot of cops may feel right. Cops may, because they want to stand together.
Well, I have a lot of friends who are very pro cop,
mm-hmm.
and a couple of them are in law enforcement to a degree. A couple of prison guard friends, and then other people that I'm associated with. And their response is always, well, they shouldn't have been there then if they didn't want to get hit. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Mm.
That's not how it's supposed to work. Cops are just, like you said, cops are human too. They are just as fallible. They are just as fallible as anybody else. So them being above the law because they are the law is bullshit. But until somebody addresses that, that's always going to be a problem. Racism, that's a whole other thing. It kind of falls under this, but it's its own thing, and that's part of the problem here. But anytime cops do stuff and aren't being called on it, that's not okay. Anytime power is abused like that, it's not okay.
Right, no matter who it is.
No matter who it is, whatever the source.
Mm-hmm. Well,
we're talking to you, Congress. No.
Yeah, I'm sure they're listening. One good thing was that, as far as I could tell, there weren't a lot of injuries or fatalities in Philly.
Oh, well, that's good.
It was good. Yeah, it was mostly, with all the looting, you don't like to see it, but you figure it's better than people getting injured or hurt or killed. And insurance will take care of it.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, hopefully. And another thing is, what I don't like is that with all that looting, we're just getting back on our feet. Like I just got word that my office is going to open up this coming Friday.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to be going to ground zero where all that took place. And I don't anticipate it being as bad, but I feel bad for those businesses that have employees that were looking forward to getting back
Yeah.
to work. Not so much
Yeah.
the owners or the corporation that owns those stores, but the people that have to work, and now they're going to be more delayed
Yeah.
because of all that stupid action, And with all the protesting, it just overwhelmed the city. It overwhelmed the police.
Yeah.
Which gave the troublemakers an opportunity.
Yeah.
To be chaotic and
Yeah.
do all that stuff. Yeah.
You're right. It's unfortunate. I agree with you when you said you're not worried about the bosses and the corporations and stuff like that. I worry about the small businesses,
mm-hmm.
the ones who thought they had made it through.
Oh, wait.
The quarantine.
Wait. There's a siren. Extra points if you guess where it's coming from. Philly or California? Extra points.
Here.
Okay. So if you guess Bill, then
you win.
You have 5 points. Yeah.
5 points.
I don't know.
Wow.
But
it's an ongoing thing. We'll just keep a tally for the entire
time. That's a game. Yeah, that's a game I play when it's bi-coastal. when we get to a million podcasts, yeah, I try to guess.
When you get to 1 million points, the podcast ends. That's it. Going 5 points at a time.
If somebody's in New York and somebody's in, I don't know, Arizona, it's most likely New York.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. No, what was I saying? I'm worried about the small businesses because they may have hung on till the end of the quarantine, and they're just about, like you said, just about ready to go back to business or get back in business. They're ready to bring their employees back in, whatever it is. And now all of a sudden they're going to be closed for a couple extra days because they got to replace windows and whatever else might have happened in their establishment.
Definitely windows and a lot of merchandise.
Yeah. And it's even if insurance does cover that, which it almost never covers all of that, or at least in my experience, you still have to wait. And if every storefront in the downtown area or whatever has their windows broken, how fast are you going to get yours done? Because are there that many window places? Is there that much stock of big sheets of tempered glass for windows for storefronts?
Right.
Just sitting there waiting to be done?
Well, I guess that business is going to make out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
One of the most stupidest things I saw was there's a piano store in Center City on one of the main streets, and the windows are busted out, and there's like 2 or 3 pianos in the windows, and there's guys standing there playing the pianos, being filmed by news, and they're just playing. I don't even know if they could play.
Right. They're just banging on the keys.
There's total chaos. People running back and forth with masks and hands full of clothes and cell phones and all this stuff. And these 2 guys are just standing there playing piano.
Maybe they're planning to open a dueling piano bar.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand. Well, and I think that's also the humanity of it is, at a certain point, you're not going to cross your personal line, whatever that is. And maybe that was their personal line. They broke the glass, but now they're all like, "Hey, a piano." You know what I mean? It's like,
I don't even think they broke the glass, but I mean, just crossing that threshold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stepping into that store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they tried to push the pianos out into the street.
Did they?
Yeah. There was one halfway out through the window.
I think the other thing is this couldn't have been timed any worse, because as we've seen, as they've loosened some of the restrictions, people are losing their minds. People have been home for a really long time, and some people are not handling it well.
And now they're having curfews.
And now they're having curfews, which is going to just put people back in their homes again.
To try to
And,
clear things up. Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just mean there was a pressure in society
Oh, yeah.
before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not the racism,
No,
not
no,
Black
no.
Lives Matter, not
I know what you were
whatever.
referring to. Yeah.
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 So there was that. And then you add in all this other stuff that's going on. And then somebody just it wasn't like they threw a matchstick. They threw the whole box. They wanted to make sure this went off.
Mm-hmm. Do you think any good will come out of it? I don't mean by just peaceful protests. That's fine. That's fine. But
Yeah,
like the violence and the chaos, you think anything will benefit from it in any way?
we'll have to see if the cop if the cop actually gets brought up, or he's brought up on charges, if he gets convicted,
Mm-hmm.
and if the other cops that were
Well,
involved.
I think that's a done deal that he's going to get convicted.
I don't.
We see that's part of the problem, that a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
Too. No matter, you have the evidence right in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's on video. There's 10 people standing around.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you want?
Right.
So,
and because you feel that way, that's unfortunately that's bad.
Yeah. So I don't know if anything good comes out of the violence ever, because there have been deaths. I'm glad there weren't any reported, at least in Philly.
Right.
But there was what did they call him? They didn't call him a cop. He was a cop, but he worked for Homeland Security.
Oh, private organization. Okay.
Up in but the job he was fulfilling was sort of a cop within, or something, or like he was security, but whatever. And he was guarding the building in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess somebody drove up and shot a couple of cops, but a couple of these guys, and one of them died. And I was at my folks' house watching. They were, of course, watching the news because they're old people and they can't not watch the news. I won't watch it. I stopped clicking on the stories. I mean, yes, I want to be informed. Yes, if something happens, but I'll skim the stories. I don't leave the TV on CNN or Fox News or anything out on a 24-hour cycle. We don't need a 24-hour news cycle. Very rarely do we need a 24-hour news cycle. Yeah, 9/11 probably need a 24-hour news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
For a few days. Giant snowstorm in New York shutting down the entire eastern seaboard. Yeah, we probably need 24-hour news for a little while. Mm-hmm. People need to be updated. But even in a 24-hour news cycle, I've watched those channels before. They repeat. They repeat themselves over and over and over and over.
Right. It's a loop of the same video.
Yeah. Do we actually need 24-hour news cycles?
But you have the control of not watching it. I mean,
but people don't. That's the problem. People binge. And like I said, if it bleeds, it leads.
That's their choice.
People want to.
You think they're brainwashed?
Yeah.
Okay.
TV is just a marketing tool to get the quote unquote American dream out there. And I think it's mostly bullshit at this point. It's, you're supposed to buy a house. You're supposed to do this. If you want to be happy to do this. Get married. Have kids. Have 2.2 kids. Have this job. Have property. Have your money in the stock market. Do this and that. And this is going to make you happy. Buy this boat. You need to have this boat. You need to have this motorcycle. You need to have these jeans. Oh my God, these jeans are going to change your life. This shirt with those jeans. Wow. This underwear. Yeah.
What about the Matrix? Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
And it's training people to. TV trains people to watch TV. And I've been trained. I come home and I turn on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I think people are being brainwashed to a certain extent.
But you're aware of how much brainwashing is being done to you. I think you're aware of it, right?
Some of it.
Yeah.
Not all of it. Like I
No.
said, I come in the house and I turn on the TV. Why don't I pick up a book?
Mhm.
I have half a dozen books right now that I could easily pick up and read.
And you know you like reading.
And I know I like reading.
Okay.
I know I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a new book from my favorite author. I'm 20, maybe 30 pages in. And it's just now it's if it was a page turner, I've had those where I've just like, oh man, I'm into this. And I just couldn't put them down. But it's my own fault. For me, at least, it's hard to smoke a cigar and read a book. So I want to go have my cigar at the end of the day.
Got to have your priorities, Bill.
Got to have my priorities.
That's the whole
But
thing.
again, it's like, well, I'm just as easily led as other people, as anyone else. And sometimes I have moments of clarity. But for the most part, no, I'm a consumer in the US machine. It's because that's my whole life has been that. I grew up watching television. And
we all have.
Yeah.
I try to watch more inspirational stuff, more motivational stuff.
Right.
And that's what I like about YouTube, because I don't have cable. Any cable exposure I get through YouTube, it may be, a clip of a news channel.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the entertainment that I watch, like Netflix and stuff, they don't have commercials.
Right.
But what I find is that, I said I watched through Daredevil again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an awesome series. And this is like maybe my fourth time through it. But you do get a little burnt out with the tone of the show, like with the violence and the gore and the corruption and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm halfway through season 2, and I'm like, all right, let's watch a little bit of a Sabrina the Witch. Let's let's clean the palate a little bit. And all right, yeah, because there's a lot going on in those shows. There's a lot of violence.
Yeah.
And a lot of negative behavior in those shows.
Yeah.
So in that respect, yeah, I do kind of get hypnotized by that type of entertainment.
Yeah.
And you gotta stand back from it once in a while and put it in its place, and give yourself a break and give yourself a chance to want it again, as opposed to being immersed in it and just like drowning in it.
There's that siren.
You gave it away. Bill.
Sorry. I forget it's a game. I need this.
That one's void. Sorry.
No points. No points allowed.
I don't know. Some shit's going down now, Bill. Sounds like.
I live right on a main street. Anytime the fire department or ambulance or police get called, they drive up this street. So it can be a little loud sometimes.
All right.
So how is your week going? How we didn't talk about that. Is everything getting kind of?
Well, my Friday was a little hectic. Like I said, I got word this week that my office is going to reopen next Friday, which I'm kind of looking forward to. But then we got to go back with all these restrictions. I have to wear a mask, and they got all these precautions in place. Which, hey, I'm on board. If that's going to get me back in the office and working, at my own computer, that'll be great.
Have you been having to wear a mask out, like when you go to the store or anything?
Oh yeah. If I'm walking down the street, my borough isn't that populated. It's not like a busy city street.
Right.
I'll pass maybe 5 people my entire walk. Especially now.
Yeah.
But when I go in stores, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to wear a mask. Yeah, yeah. I can't see, and especially now when I start taking the train again. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm going to have to be geared up. Yeah, this Friday was the end of the month for us, and they finally got me the software to process videos. And I wasn't able to install it until the end of the day, so I really couldn't help out that much. But I'm all set up that way. But
Okay, good.
that is now I'm getting a barrage of exhibits and now videos. So
Oh wow.
so this week's gonna be interesting. We'll see. Uh, we'll see how much I get through. But
Yeah.
I'm excited and I'm happy for it. And then like you said, the added stress now with all the chaos that's going on in the city. I'll see what that's like.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, worst case, you're set up to work from home. So
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier today to my ex. I said, because
yes.
she's the one that brought it to my attention. And
Oh
she's
wow.
like, yeah, look at this, like you saw all these fire, like cop cars turned over on fire. But it didn't seem like a lot of like violence towards people. Like they weren't just grabbing people and beating them up and stuff like that, which I was glad. It's just like a lot of young people running in and out of stores, grabbing what they could.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just mostly that.
that's not good.
Yeah,
Just because that's just looting. Then there's
but
no.
I'm grateful that it wasn't like just people getting beaten up and their heads bashed in. That's the more important thing.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. You don't want that to happen on either side.
I want it to be peaceful. I want people's voices to be heard, but I want it to be in a peaceful way.
Right.
I don't want it to escalate and keep going. Some people think their voices are only going to be heard when they escalate stuff. And
Well,
I guess
history has taught some people that.
to a degree, right? To a degree, they are correct. That's how our country was formed.
Yeah. But you don't.
That's a blanket statement, but
Right.
it's true.
But I agree with you that the other option is burning everything to the ground, and that's not an option.
Well, only to say all the innocent people that get swept up in that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. I have a thought. It's like certain people's version of equality
Mm-hmm.
is you suffering as bad as they have or worse, so you know what it's like.
Yeah. Some people.
As opposed to making things change and elevating yourself, or getting help, elevating the situation to where you're better off. They rather see other people get a taste of what they've been going through, and that's their version of equality.
Okay.
Okay, or
Well, I'm a big believer in we are trained from a very young age.
we meaning
We meaning people,
just
just people.
okay.
If you come from a nurturing environment, if you come from a hard scrabble environment, if you're shown no love, if you're shown all the love, all those things. Let me preface this by saying everybody reacts differently. Every individual person is just that. We're all individuals, and everybody comes from a place where trauma or coercion or influence, that's probably the right word, can make or break anybody. And some people take very little coercion, and some people take all the coercion in the world and they're not going to bend. But I think all of those things do shape you as your life goes on. And at a certain point, your reaction to things is based on historically what has happened to you, and historically the reaction to what you do or say. And it's proven to you throughout your lifetime. Oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen when this happens and I react this way, this is going to happen. So I don't disagree with you that some people's view of equality is, how did you say it? I want you to feel the same pain that I do.
Yeah.
Okay. I think some of those people, at least some of them are just, they want to see the world burn.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of them are indoctrinated into that. Some of them are shown that. That's not necessarily their first. That wouldn't have been their first thought, but it is now. And those are the people that you need to show, no, that's not the right answer. I think there's always going to be people who just want chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And those people need to be pointed out and shown a better way.
Right. I think they need an opportunity to take a better path. Yeah.
And or isolated.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't judge everybody based on those people.
No.
But I think there are a lot of people who act like that but can change, or given an option won't necessarily do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are certain people that were abused.
Yeah.
Growing up, and
and that's my thing. It's like growing up black in America.
Uh-huh.
How is that not abuse? Your whole life. I didn't grow up black. I can't say it. I'm going by what I'm listening to other people say.
Yeah.
I'm listening to these mothers and fathers saying that they have to have a talk with their sons, especially when they turn 13 or 14, and how to act around cops. I'm like, my parents never told me how to act around cops. They told me how to act in real life, but you behave or you do this, whatever. But they didn't specifically take me aside and say, okay, now the cops are going to pull you over for no good damn reason, and you have to take it. So my thoughts are purely speculative. I have a little bit of personal thing with cops in my past, but
mm-hmm.
it's
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extent that you're talking about. But
yeah. And so
I think a lot of people do.
So I can just I have to take them at their
word. I wouldn't insult those other people's experiences by bringing up mine.
Right.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's why I interrupted you and I apologize. But
no, that's fine.
That was you said abuse, and I'm like, that's what that is. That's abuse of an entire race of people.
Mm-hmm.
For their entire lives. How do you expect them to react?
Yeah. It's a specific abuse. Yeah. That's a specific
abuse.
Yeah. That not everybody can speak to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone is going to react the same way. Some people are not going to be fazed by it at all. And other people are going to be completely shut down and not ever be able to react because that's not in their nature. But somewhere on the spectrum of that, there's going to be a bunch of people that are willing and able to stand up and say something. And on that spectrum, there's going to be some that are more than willing and able to stand up, and they're just looking to start some trouble. So.
Well, we solved it.
Okay, we're good.
That's it. We're all good. All right. Get back to
Everybody go
it.
back to
Get
everybody
back
go back
to
to
it,
the
world.
house now.
That's it. I hope
Isn't
you were
that how you
listening closely. Closely? If we name the episodes, I would call it closefully. Yeah, but we don't do that. I just
Oh, yeah, I know. I do like that though.
Yeah.
Closely.
Listen closely.
This is see, and you got me into pontificating now, and because you said I had all the answers. Now I think between us we figured this one out. You're right.
Yeah. See, that's it.
So when did you watch Daredevil? Does just this week, or have you
Just
been
this
watching?
week? Yeah, because I was looking for another thing with the pandemic is that a lot of shows that were in production were unable to wrap up.
Oh, right.
And put out the next season.
Oh.
So there's certain shows I'm waiting for that I don't know when they're going to be released. I like Lucifer. I like that series Lucifer.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Is that good? I haven't watched it.
Very funny, dude. It's very funny.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a very lighthearted show.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's very lighthearted.
Cool.
I mean, and the seriousness in it is still kind of sugary.
Goofy.
Yeah, it's kind of sugary. It's not. Yeah, it's not The Wire or
yeah.
or The Sopranos or anything like that. It's fun. It's just bubblegum viewing.
Nice.
And that's a Netflix show now, and I think they recorded like half of the season, and the rest of the series. I don't know when they're going to continue.
Yeah.
So I like the Marvel shows on Netflix so much. I've watched them repeatedly. They just have a lot of heart, and the writing and the production, the music, the choreography, the cinematography, it's really good. So, and I know you're a Marvel guy.
Yeah. I know I need to go in and watch.
Mm-hmm.
I keep finding stuff.
Yeah.
That line across the bottom where they say, "Hey, if you like this," and I'll keep, just because I'm already in that screen, I'm like, well, let's see what else it says. Oh, that looks interesting. I did that this week. I think I watched 4 or 5 different, shows about motorcycle riding, and one was a guy who is an accomplished adventure touring guy. He has like 2 Guinness records for speed, for travel in the shortest amount of time from across continents. And he'd sort of given up that and started his own business, or went partners in on a business doing that, taking people. And he trained, I think it was 8 riders, and they were going to ride from London to Beijing. And it was like 22,000 kilometers. So what is that, like 12 or 13,000 miles, something like that. And they were going to, and going over some crazy roads. That was pretty interesting.
Did you ever ride a motorcycle?
I have a motorcycle.
Oh, you do have one. Okay.
I do have one, yeah.
Well, that would make sense. If you said, no, I've never touched one.
No, I've never. I had somebody delivered it and put it in the garage, and I'm like, wow, that looks cool. No,
I've 17 hours of motorcycle riding, but you don't own one.
No, I haven't ridden it in a while, unfortunately. But I do have a motorcycle.
What do you think about guys like Evel Knievel?
Oh man, I grew up watching Evel Knievel, those specials when they would have them, and he would. I don't understand that. Is it desire? Is it compulsion? What makes somebody do that? Is it showmanship? Is it entertainment?
I think it's a little kid's curiosity and just wanting to jump over stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't think he ever lost that.
He had something, because it was. But again, the thing now, you look back and the admiration is, there's no wonder that guy broke every bone in his body multiple times or whatever. He was jumping a Harley. He was riding a Harley, and I mean, yeah, it was kind of set up to do this, but I don't know how much math went into anything that he did. He just kind of said,
it wasn't a dirt bike. It wasn't a race.
yeah. Well, it wasn't even like a special suspension as far as I know. So, yeah, that's kind of nuts. I don't get those people. But that's me.
That reminds me of the Ghost Rider movie with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that one?
Yeah.
Because that's what he was. He was
he was a stunt rider.
Yeah.
Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze. Yeah.
So
they brought that character back for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Too.
I kind of liked it. I liked the guy who was playing it. I can't think of his name right now.
I can't think of the actor's name either. But he was in one of the latest Terminator movies too. He was a Terminator.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah, because I remember seeing like Instagram or Twitter things with him and Arnold.
Yeah. It was good. I liked it. You know,
Gabriel Luna. I think it was Gabriel Luna.
Linda Hamilton was in it.
Yeah.
Again.
I haven't seen it yet. I didn't see
It's
it.
fun.
Is it?
It's fun. It's what you expect. Yeah.
I want to see it just because I saw the commercial when she knocks on the cabin, and Arnold opens the door, and he's the Terminator, but he's got a beard, the white beard. And I'm just like, okay, that's gonna be fun. So, and I still have a crush on Linda Hamilton. So,
she's looking a little worn.
is she?
Yeah. I mean, you could still tell it's her, but
yeah,
she's got to be 60.
She's got to, I would think older than that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, or in her 60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they make her look like a real badass in it.
Of course they do.
And they make her say Arnold's line.
Do they?
Back. Yeah. Which was funny. That was cool.
I'm waiting for it to come out or maybe it is already. Maybe I just haven't paid for it. There's so much free stuff to watch. Well, not free. You're paying for it.
So much great stuff to watch. I can't suggest it enough. Yeah, get into the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I need to.
I made one bit of it. What's that?
I made the mistake when I first got Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Iron Fist, and by all accounts, Iron Fist was not good.
Oh, that was the first one? Wow.
Well, yeah, because I had already missed Luke Cage. I had missed what's the one with
Jessica Jones?
Jessica Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen Daredevil. So I think it was when my roommate moved in. He said, "Oh, I have Netflix. We'll put it on the TV." So I put it on the TV, and at that time, Iron Fist had just started. So I thought, well, I can catch this from the beginning, whereas the other ones I'll have to go back.
Well, what I like about those series is that they cross.
Yeah.
Cross each other. All the characters cross each other, and especially because there's a series called The Defenders where they all come
together, right?
And I was going to advise you is that if you watch Daredevil, you got to watch seasons 1 and 2, and then go to The Defenders.
Oh, okay.
Because The Defenders picks up where season 2 of Daredevil leaves off.
Nice. Okay.
They introduce Elektra, and then she's a big part of The Defenders.
Cool. All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's real. I think you'll love it, man.
Because so Daredevil was the first one, right?
Yeah, that was the first one. That kicked it off. And what you'll notice about Daredevil is the fight scenes and the choreography of the fight scenes.
Okay.
There's the first fight scene or first large fight scene where it's all one take in a hallway.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it goes on for, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes maybe, and it's all one take.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he said that, being interviewed, Charlie Cox is the actor's name. He said, we rehearsed it all in the morning, and then by noon we started filming it. And the first couple of takes were really good. We got all the way through it. And then somebody had the bright idea and said, we could do it better. So then comes midnight, and they're still filming.
Oh my God.
And they decided to keep the last take, which
Oh,
was
wow.
which was maybe a dozen or more
Everybody's
takes more.
bruised and battered and tired and
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I'm sure if you wanted to, you could. I think I think that scene shows up in maybe episode 1 or 2, so it might even be 1. But if you wanted to YouTube it, you could probably YouTube it.
Oh yeah.
You just wanted to
Well,
check out
I'm
that
sure I'll
scene.
watch it.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it's
I'll
better
watch
to
it.
just watch it to see it in its context. Yeah, and then you want to rewatch it. But then there's a few films. There's a few scenes like that. The next season they do one with him fighting on a staircase. It's all one take.
Oh jeez.
And he fights multiple guys. So
well, I think I told you, or you're the one that pointed it out. I'm a completist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest problem sometimes is if I start watching these, I have to start at the beginning, and I'm gonna want to watch straight through. Or if I'm really into it, I'll just go episode to episode to episode to episode, and I just don't have that kind of time most of the time.
Well, I mean, if you start watching Daredevil, you're gonna.
I'm not leaving the house for. Well, I might take a couple days off this week, so maybe I'll turn it on one of those mornings. I'll get up in the morning, specifically make breakfast, go turn on the TV, and then just sit down and.
I mean, they're about an hour, but they go really fast.
Yeah.
And each one ends on like a cliffhanger, which makes you want to go into the next one.
Yeah, that's. I hate that.
Well, you love that, but
I love that. Yeah, exactly. but that's the thing because it makes you want to watch the next episode right then, just so you get the answer. Oh, that's maddening sometimes because I'll sit there and I'll watch the next one and I think, well, I'll just watch the first 5 minutes, find out what happened. Nope.
Another thing about YouTube, which I love, is they have especially with a hit series, they have tons of interviews.
Oh.
So if you're really into a series, you can really get a lot of background information.
Yeah.
And without fail, there's always actors in a series you like that are British that do not talk with a British accent.
It surprised the hell out of you when you hear them talk.
Yeah, because the actor that plays Daredevil is British.
Oh.
And also the actor that plays Iron Fist.
Well, there's a problem right there. Who was the one that most recently surprised me? Oh, the first time I heard, who was it that played Howard Stark, a young Howard Stark, in the first Captain America movie, with the dark hair and the smooth and.
Is he the guy that was with? Yeah, I know who you mean. I know the actor you're talking about.
And he's British.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Okay.
And the first time I saw it, I think it might have been the Graham Norton show, and I was like, "Wait, what? What the hell's going on here?" Because I bought that actor, or I bought that accent. Yeah. I bought him the way he talked. I liked the way the swagger he carried with him, and thinking that that's Tony Stark's dad. Absolutely, that kind of just. And then the first time I hear him speaking and he's got a British accent, I was just like, what the?
The biggest surprise I had was the guy that plays Rick on The Walking Dead. That was the biggest surprise to me.
That was a good one too, yeah.
He has such a thick Southern accent in that show.
He really has.
Oh man, wow, that's weird.
Well, have you seen, oh God, what was the movie? It was a Hugh Grant movie, not about the boy. Something about love. Shoot.
Love Absolutely? No.
Love Actually.
Actually. Okay.
Love Actually.
I was on the right track.
Yes. Yeah. Rick Grimes, that actor, is in that. But he doesn't have the scruff. He's clean shaven. Mm-hmm. He's the best friend of the guy who marries Keira Knightley, but he's madly in love with Keira Knightley.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? I like that movie. It's
never
a cute movie.
Yeah.
And
But you didn't see Raging Bull. You saw that, but you didn't see Raging Bull.
I was too young to see Raging Bull when it came out, and then I just never went back. I know. I have there are some holes in my history.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was a subject matter I was thinking about having a podcast about.
About what?
Movies that you haven't seen, like classic movies you haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
But you remember Elisa from Podfest?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she has one.
Nice.
Yeah, her and her boyfriend and
friend.
There's
a couple of them.
Cheryl Jones, I think, is on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen. Oh, so yeah. Then yes. Yeah.
It's on my list. I think it's called On My List.
Oh yeah, that's what it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to listen to that. But
and I'm like, well, that idea is gone. I mean, we could do that. I mean, we could always talk, but we can't have an entire show about it.
We could do it here. We can talk about anything we want here. So.
Yeah. Hey, do you have any pets?
I do not.
Just your roommate?
Just my roommate. No, I want to get a dog, and then once I get a dog, I kind of want to get a cat. But I'm a dog guy.
Okay.
So I don't want to get the cat first, just because I don't know, and maybe I should get the cat first. But cats can be territorial, I think.
Oh yeah.
And
to each other.
Yeah, to each other.
Which
and maybe that's
experience.
Yeah. If I introduce a dog, the dog's not going to care one way or the other, as long as the dog isn't a cat killer. I like those households where the dogs and the cats get along, or if they don't get along, they just don't bother each other. Because we've had dogs in the past that would kill a cat my brother had a dog when we were younger. We weren't even kids, but we were still living at home.
I think Rogan has a story about that he had to get rid of a dog because killed some of his other pets.
Yeah, and you're just like, yeah, that can't happen. I don't want that to happen.
No, of course not. That's sad. Is there a certain breed that you're interested in?
I like big dogs. I like Old English sheepdogs.
Wow, that's a big dog.
It's a big dog. The neighbor across the street when I was in junior high was this young couple that moved in, and they had a baby, and they had 2 Old English sheepdogs. And I think that's my first experience with the actual dogs, not in pictures. And and those dogs were great, and I just had so much fun with them. And then the couple moved out, and a couple years later, she moved back. So they divorced, unfortunately, but she moved back, and now she had 3 kids. And my dad worked with a lady who was getting rid of her Old English sheepdog because he was too big and she couldn't keep him anymore. She didn't have a yard, I can't remember why. It wasn't that she didn't like the dog, that she was moving or something. And my dad knew that the lady across the street had Old English before. So he said, hey, would you be interested in this? So then, and this was, like I said, a couple years later. So now I was in high school, and she had 3 little ones that were 5, 3, and 1. I mean, they were little. And so and they were right across the street. So I'd go over there all the time, and I'd play with the kids, and I'd play with the dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
I like it. Yeah.
And talk to her. I mean, she's maybe 10 years older than me. She was very young, comparatively. And, but it was just fun because I was at that age where I was big enough to kind of fight with the dog. And I was the dog's only real outlet for that kind of aggressive energy because the kids were so small, and he was great with the kids. It was crazy. He would herd the kids in the yard, but it was just so instinctual, and he wouldn't, I never saw him knock down the 1 and the 3-year-old.
Oh, so he had a good temperament.
Yeah, well, I mean, but even when he was hurting them, he would get in the way and either make them change direction.
You thought they were sheep?
Yeah. But they would fall down sometimes, but it's because they ran into him, not because he ran into them.
Yeah.
And the 5-year-old, who was a little bigger, a little more agile, whatever the right word is, he'd knock him down sometimes, but it was more like because the boy's name was Jesse. Jesse would push and the dog would push back, and so then sometimes Jesse would fall down.
Well, he
And
probably liked it. He was
yeah,
probably,
yeah, exactly.
he was roughhousing with the dog. Yeah, he was
yeah. And then me, because I was 15 or 16, 14, whatever, he'd jump up on me, and I'd go home with these claw marks down my arm, and my mom would be like, "What happened to you?" I was like, "Oh, it's fine with Oliver." The dog's name was Oliver.
I was just going to ask the dog's name. That's funny. Yeah.
His name was Oliver, and he was bigger than both of their previous Old English sheepdogs. Herb. And like it was a male and a female, and I think the female was like 110, and I think the male was like 125, maybe 130. Oliver was 150 or 100. He was big for an Old English, but he wasn't fat. He was just a big dog. And so when he and I would go at it, we were pretty much even on the weight thing, probably about that time.
Like and sumo wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. But it was always fun. I never saw him growl or get angry.
He knew you were playing.
Yeah. He knew we were playing. It's just he has claws, and when I would get my arm somewhere, he'd come down, and then he'd jump up again. But it was always in fun, and I never got hurt. It was always just. But yeah, I just like the Old English sheepdog. But I like any big dog breed.
I like pets as like grandchildren or nephews or nieces. Like they're fun to visit.
Yeah,
it's fun to play with, fun to visit. But here, you got to take care of their shit, literally.
Yeah.
And all their diseases, and when they get sick, and you got to take care of all that stuff.
I understand that feeling too.
I did have a cat. I mean, when I was married, we had 2 cats.
Yeah.
And we had one cat for a couple of years, and then we tried to introduce another one.
Yeah.
We had a female cat named Sophia, and then we brought in a male cat named Dino, and Sophia did not like that. She stayed down the basement for like 6 months.
Wow.
6 months. And Dino just walked around, hey, what's up? He was the king of the castle, man. And then one night, in the middle of the night, they decided to have it out on our bed.
Oh, geez.
So they woke us up fighting.
Yeah.
And I had a big scratch from Dino's back claws, like on my stomach. Yeah, because he was trying to get away.
Oh.
But then after that day, they cohabitated.
Well, that's good.
And then eventually there's pictures of them like sleeping on the same bed and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were getting little scraps, but nothing lethal. They both survived. So that was cool.
Yeah, there's something to be said for what do they call that? Not matched pairs, but bonded pairs. When you get 2 animals at the same time and they kind of come up together, so there is no dominant one. They're both. Well, there's probably still a dominant one, but
Sophia and her sister, we got them the same day.
Yeah.
And Sophia's sister, Angel, her name was Angel, went to my ex's mom.
Oh.
So there was a time where we had to move in there while our house was getting ready.
Yeah.
They didn't like each other, man.
Oh, wow.
They could not be in the same room. And we thought, I mean, we know they're siblings, but
right.
Yeah, they did not like each other. There were 2, and it was 2 females. And and she was mean. Like Angel was, of all the names, her name was Angel. Yeah. She was mean. It was a mean cat, man. Yeah. Well, if you got a dog, what do you think you'd name him?
I think I had a name picked out at one time, and I can't remember, but it's been so long since I even thought about getting a dog.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about it. I don't know.
And you don't really know until you get
until you sometimes it tells you. Sometimes you see it and it's like, Well, I told you about that movie that I watched, The Art of Racing in the Rain. I caught the last 45 minutes of it yesterday. I was flipping
Oh,
around and it was on, and I was like, turned it on, and it was at a scene. I was like, oh, this is a good scene. And then I just watched the rest of it. And that dog's name is Enzo.
I've heard that.
So,
Yeah, I've heard that name before. That's a cool name. Yeah.
excuse me. And so it was that in the back of my head, I was like, I could name a dog Enzo, but it would
Oh,
have
yeah,
to be the right dog.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a cool name. I think I'd name a dog Libido.
Why?
I don't know. I just think that Libido, sit.
Have you seen my libido? Have you seen?
No, thank you. Oh, you know what? My ex's cat really likes me.
Mm-hmm.
Her name's Mia, and every time I go over there, she walks up to the front of me and then just lays on her back and goes like this. Full penthouse. Just, sometimes she'll talk to me. I'll go, Mia. Loves me. I have no idea why. I don't feed her treats. I mean, I'm there a lot, to Nikki, but yeah. It's just the funniest thing.
Some animals, they take to people, or take to some people even. So you never know what's going to do that. I did want to. Oh, I was going to say this one thing. This documentary that I saw this week on, I think it was Amazon Prime, was pretty good. It was called Slow Ride Home. And it was about these guys that they're in a scooter club out of Seattle. And they did a Cannonball Run style ride from somewhere in Florida. I can't remember where in Florida. All the way back to Seattle on scooters.
Man.
And it was
Man.
At first I thought,
my butt hurts just hearing about that.
This is going to be crazy and dumb and just stupid. It was crazy. It was funny. It was fun. They did challenges along the ride, and I won't go into it beyond that, just to say as a group they had challenges. And so I've never seen things break down so much. I've never seen things, well, I take that back. I saw another one about some classic motorcycles that did the same thing, a cross country race, and those things broke down constantly. But it was pretty funny. It was, and I liked the group of guys that were doing it. So
how many guys?
I think there were 8 of them.
Wow. That's a lot for a documentary. That's a lot of guys to follow.
6 or 8. Well, I mean, they're mostly traveling together.
Yeah.
So it's just little. And
yeah, but usually it focuses in on 1 or 2 people.
Well, and it really was. There was maybe 3 or 4 that got most of the screen time, but they would just do those little not vignettes, those little just interview shots. Oh, this was happening. Oh, this was happening. Oh, this, and then they'd go back and they'd be on the road.
I imagine all those guys are pretty young.
Most of them were younger-ish, but there was one older guy, probably in his 40s or early 50s. Okay. Maybe not that old. Maybe in his 40s.
Was he in good shape, or?
Just an old guy. I mean, not wasn't like a triathlete or anything like that. He was a guy that liked to ride scooters.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I'm just thinking it's pretty grueling.
It is. Oh, it absolutely is. You could tell they were getting beat up.
Now, when you say scooters, you mean like the ones that we see in like Italian movies?
No. Well, yes, as far as size, no. There were, I think these guys all had, what were they? I think they were Hondas. Well, at least a couple of them were Hondas. And so, I mean, they're modern, but probably several years old at this point. And then that's just a really, one of the guys said, he goes cross country at 40 miles an hour. So, I mean, they're not big scooters. They're not doing.
How many days did it take?
trying to remember. Was it 13? I don't remember. It was like 3,500 miles, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it was I think it was 12 or 14 days, something like that.
And they all stopped at the same time? Like nobody went on ahead?
Each day. Occasionally they would, but mostly they stayed together as a group.
Okay. All right.
So if somebody broke down, at least one or two of them would stop usually, but one guy, trying to remember. Oh, it was the old guy. Something happened. They were only 100 miles, maybe 200 miles into their trip. And he had to wait for the shop to open in the town they were in, but the rest of the guys, they wanted to get going. And they thought for sure he was going to turn around. Oh, because that guy also, I think he's a member of the scooter club. They're called Soldiers of Destiny, which is an interesting name. But I think he's a member of the club, but he lived in Florida. That's why they did it. I think it was 2016. The Cannonball Committee had announced that the running that year was going to be from somewhere in Florida to Seattle, which at this point I don't even, because I thought the Cannonball was always Newport, Rhode Island and Newport, California.
Is there a prize?
No.
Oh, it's just for the glory.
It's just for the glory. Well, I don't know. There might be now, but I think it's a organized, unorganized race is my feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, hey, we're all going to do this, and we're all going to meet here, and we're all going to end here, and that's kind of what it was. But
that's one hell of a vacation, because
no kidding.
You're taking your vacation time to do that.
Exactly.
Did they say how long? Did they say how long one stretch was? Like, did they travel?
They broke it down each day. Like today they were traveling 200 miles. Today they were traveling. But it was interesting because some days they were on the road 10, 12 hours because they're only going 40 miles an hour. And then they break down. And then so there was a limitation on how far they could go. They weren't going to cover 400 miles in any one day because there was no way they could do 40 miles an hour for 10 hours. Straight. I mean, you got to stop and get gas. You got to eat. You got to. Oh, that was the funniest one. One of the dudes, his challenge was every time they saw a McDonald's, he had to stop and get something to eat. But it was, that was the cool thing about the challenge. It wasn't like
he's brainwashed. Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that's what we're saying.
It wasn't for the whole race. It was one day. Like your challenge was on any one day. And if you refused or didn't meet the challenge, there was a penalty. And I won't go into that. If you want to watch it, you can watch it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much about it.
So
just in case somebody does want to watch that.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah. And I assume they all made it.
Yes, they did.
That's good. Nobody got hurt.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. I know that's the thing I worry about in some of these sometimes when you're watching these. It's like, hey, it's real life. And yeah, somebody might have gotten hurt, but I think everybody made it. No, not too much trauma.
Well, I think that would have been part of it. That would have been part of the documentary if someone got injured or knocked out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
you have the honor this week.
I do.
Putting together our this and that's.
Do you want me to read them or do you want to read them off?
Oh, you are hosting, sir.
I am hosting. All right. Well, now I got to find them.
You're our Alex Trebek of this and that's this week.
All right. Yeah. Well, are you ready for this and that's?
Yes.
Excellent. Football or baseball?
The first thing I thought of when I read that was of the George Carlin bit. If you've ever seen it. Oh, okay, good. You have. I imagine you've seen that.
I just had to think about it for a second, but yeah. I do.
He compares football to baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Football is rigidly timed.
What was it?
And
Football
ends in
war.
sudden. What's
Yeah.
that? Ends in sudden death. Baseball, you're going home. We're going home.
You go to a park.
Yeah. You go to a park. Wear
Yeah.
caps. Yeah. Now that we both crucified his bit, let's
Exactly.
move on. All right. So, so football or baseball. I'm not, like I said, I'm not that much of a sports fan.
Which, when I first thought of this question, give you some background. When I first thought of that question, I was like, Paul said he's not really much of a sports fan, but I still went with the question, knowing that.
Oh, I got shit to say about
Let's go.
I would say I played more football growing up than baseball when I did play any kind of sports. But I would say baseball. I like baseball more.
Okay.
I heard of a funny saying about baseball. It's one of the only sports where you sit half of the game. I can't remember what comedian said that, but yeah.
I hadn't thought of that, but that's true, huh?
Sit half of the game. The majority of the team sits half of the game.
Yep.
I would say baseball because although I'm not much of a sports fan, I am a sports movie fan.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of movies because they're very inspirational, like The Natural.
Yeah.
And Big League or whatever, Major League.
Major League, yeah.
And what was the one with Tom Hanks?
A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own, right. There's no crying in baseball.
No crying.
Yeah. So I love a good sports movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that's
baseball.
Fair.
Yep.
Baseball. So for me, I think I'm a football guy as far as watching on TV, because baseball can get a little bit boring. Not boring. It can get a little bit long sometimes. And no matter what else is going on in a football game, there's people running around hitting each other. Pretty much every play. Baseball, there can be a lot of just pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch. I'm changing a little bit as I've gotten older because I understand the psychological side of the game now a little bit better. Or I'm sure I don't understand anything about the psychological side of the game, but I understand that, you pitch this guy a certain way because he has trouble hitting it. Or
strategy.
Yeah, it's all strategy. It's all about, why would you steal the base at this point in the game and not in this point of the game? Oh, how many outs are there? Is it worth giving up the bunt to move a player over one or two, possibly two bases? Why would you give up that out? So as I understand more about the game, I like baseball more. I'm still, for watching, I'm still a football guy for the most part, but I do understand a little bit more about baseball now than I used to, and I do enjoy watching a game every once in a while. But it's for me, it's easy to ignore a lot of a baseball game. Actually, I'm getting that way with football too. Where it's like I turn it on, but it's just background noise, really. And every once in a while, you look up and go, "Oh, that was a good catch." So
yeah, and now they have so many highlights.
Yeah,
that you don't really have to watch a game if you don't have time to or really care to watch a certain team. Yeah.
Do you ever watch like college? I don't know if they do it with pro football, but have you ever seen like a college football game in an hour?
Not on purpose. Yeah.
There's
I'll
one
be
of
in
the
a barber shop maybe.
Yeah.
Well, not now, but
well, and because I'm sure they do it on other stations. I'm sure they didn't the what is it, Prime Ticket or Pac-12 network didn't invent this, but they'll put on college football games in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So they've basically cut out all the walking around, all the huddles, all the going to the sidelines, everything that isn't actual action. And they cut all that out. And it's just like, you see the ball hiked, you see the ball thrown, you see the guy caught or tackled or whatever, and then they're right back at the line.
The Reader's Digest of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But especially if you're only semi-interested in the game, but you like watching the highlights, it's a really interesting way to watch the game.
I would imagine, especially now since there's no sports.
Right. And I found these a couple years ago, and I was like, that was kind of cool because you don't have to spend 3 or 4 hours watching a game. You're just, I kind of want to see the highlights. Okay, that was a decent game. That was fun. So
yeah, well, yeah, it's got to be more entertaining because you're seeing all the juicy parts of the game.
Exactly, in an hour with commercials.
Got to have them commercials.
Got to have them commercials. Okay, so for you, baseball, because that was the winner of the previous this or that, or anything you enjoy doing, reading, going to a movie, going to a concert, what would be your favorite of those two? And it could be either watching a game on TV or going to a game live, whichever you would prefer, versus anything else you'd want to do, or any other sporting event. Maybe you like badminton, Olympic level badminton. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I would prefer to see some kind of live, like comedy show or music, as opposed to baseball. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll always choose that type of art above any kind of sports. Yeah. Unless it was comedians playing softball. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to go with, I'm a volleyball guy. So I'm kind of thinking along the sports line. I would like to watch volleyball, whether it's on TV. I'd prefer live, and I'd prefer my preferred seat. I have a place I like to sit for games if I can get there. It's not always possible, but I love volleyball. I still love volleyball.
I can't imagine there being a lot of like excess time in volleyball. I think it goes pretty much, you serve and you volley and then you score a point or not. You know, I think it moves pretty quick, right?
There's still some downtime, but yeah, it goes a little bit quicker than some of the other sports, I think.
Do they have sponsorship? I imagine so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it mainly sports items or clothing?
Well, yeah, but I mean, at some of the higher levels, you're going to see international and national businesses sponsor. It's like, well, the Olympics. There's always going to be, IBM or NBC or somebody's going to have some big sponsorship for that. But that's, of course, televised too.
One time I remember somebody had women's basketball, and they had a big banner at the event. I'm laughing like I'm 5. They had a big banner at the event that said Tampax. So I'm like, yeah, all right, it's a product. It's used,
and that's
and it is a women's sport. So, but to see that as a guy, I don't know. It just struck me funny. I know it shouldn't, but it just did. So, I mean, it's like I would laugh at Viagra ads,
right,
at a football game,
and that's where you would see them, though. That probably is appropriate. So, okay, let's see. Moving on. A big concert, any band, your favorite band, or not, or a small band in a bar or a small venue, like a real 30 people, small place, you're 10 feet, 15 feet from the band.
You mean like a local band or like?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean the Stones are playing the Stone Pony or something like that. I mean, a band that you really like, that's a local act, and they're performing down at your local pub or whatever. And it's just going to be a cool, fun night. No real big issues. Or
I would have to say a smaller venue. I don't like a big venue. I mean, thousands and thousands of people
yeah.
at a concert. I mean, the biggest concerts I've ever seen have always been in like a theater.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen one of the last concerts I saw was Brian Setzer.
Oh, nice.
He does an annual Christmas show.
Seen it a couple times. Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay. And then and then in the middle, he does like kind of a Stray Cats thing.
Yeah.
Where they break it down to like a 3-piece, do a rockabilly thing.
Yeah.
The greatest concerts I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen that a couple of times. And I saw him as a Stray Cat in the 80s.
Oh, did you really?
Oh yeah. I saw him 4 times maybe here in Philly.
Oh, nice.
And
never
one time
saw him as a Stray Cat.
You never saw him as a Stray Cat? Oh, dude,
Cat.
I was in love with that band from the get-go.
I was a fan, but just never got that opportunity.
I think it might have even been the first time I saw them. It was at the Philadelphia Zoo. It was an outside concert. And a local band opened up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have heard of these guys, the Hooters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the Hooters opened up for them. So that was a hell of a concert, man.
No kidding. Wow.
That was like 82, maybe 83,
yeah.
right before they broke.
That's pretty cool.
Guess what their encore song was?
Stray Cat Strut.
No, they played it, of course, but
of course.
No.
So what was it?
It was a cover of the Mary Tyler Moore theme. You're gonna make it after all.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Oh, man.
It sounded a lot better than that. Yeah. I think Brian winced.
I think
Brian winced when he heard me sing that. Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Sorry, Brian.
We're doing the best we can with what we got here, so.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Big concert, any band, small band. I would be hard pressed to turn down one of my favorite bands in a big venue if I could pick the seat, but I've really gotten into the small bands at small venues. I am a fan of a woman, Sean Wiggins, and her band, and they play around here every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I love going to see her in particular play, which just kind of got me into that small venue thing. With all the wineries around here, there's some brew pubs, and they're almost always playing somebody local. And so I've just gotten into a thing where I go see these local bands, and some of them aren't great, but most of them are fun. At the very least, they're fun. And because they're local, you just get a group of locals, for lack of a better word, who are going to see them too. So you kind of start seeing the same people, and you get this tribe or this group of people that you become friends with.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm going with that one too. I'm going with the small club or small venue and a local band.
Well, I just remembered the last concert I saw was at a small bar. And it was this guy up here, Ben Vaughn.
Oh, okay.
And Ben is he's a guitarist, and he kind of has a retro sound, kind of like a Chuck Berry, Nick Lowe. I don't know if you know Nick Lowe or not.
I know the name. I know.
Kind of 80s popish.
Yeah.
And that's where he's mostly known for his guitar work on like a couple of TV series, Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, okay.
That 70s show. So he was a musical coordinator on those.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I really like his music. It's kind of quirky. It's kind of rockabilly-ish, rock and roll-ish. He's not that great a vocalist.
Right.
But his music has a lot of charm to it. Has a lot of humor in it too.
Nice.
Yeah, it has a lot of humor in his lyrics and twisting. play on words. And he does a song where it's the entire lyrics are French sayings that we Americanized. It doesn't make sense. Like they're not forming sentences, but it's all like,
he's just saying phrases.
croissant, resume, it's like that. Yeah, so, and I'm like, that's a really funny tune, man. That's right. And I got to see him live.
Nice. What's his name again?
Ben Vaughn.
Ben Vaughn.
Yeah, okay. You can YouTube him. There's a documentary about him actually, and it's in French. Yeah, because he has fans all over the world.
Yeah. And
he has a song called I Feel Like Jerry Lewis in France. That's one of his songs. And it's so it has subtitles so you can, know what they're saying.
He's a pretty big artist then. I mean,
he has his rabid fans. You know what I'm saying? Like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around a bunch of times, a bunch of years, and I think he has a radio show on. I think he has an NPR radio show where he talks about other artists and introduces you to other kinds of music and stuff like that. But I saw him. There's a local radio station here that they put on free concerts on a Friday.
Okay.
So an artist will play for free for an hour. So I saw him there, and then like a couple of months later, he was playing a gig at a bar. And I went to that bar, and
that's cool.
Got this dude, man. And when you really like somebody's music and you get this to experience it right there, that's
yeah.
I mean, to me, it was like seeing Brian Setzer. Right.
And I think that's what I was going for with that question is that exact thing. That's I'm friends now with Sean Wiggins, the woman I was talking about. But the first time I heard her voice was I was at a winery event. So I'm literally down this hill 100 yards away or so. And I just hear this voice and I was like, wow. And I walked through there's an avocado tree there. And I walked through and I'm just standing there while her and her partner, Paul.
You got me an avocado tree.
Nice. And just listening to the clarity of her voice on this, and I think it was a Zeppelin song too. So I was just like, wow. And then I was wearing my kilt and the song ends and she leans into the mic and she goes, I like your kilt. And I was like, I was stunned by her voice, and all of a sudden she was talking to me.
She acknowledged you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that felt really good. But just I was like, that voice is amazing. And then they proceeded to play a bunch of originals. And I was like, this is awesome. And I kind of started following them around when they were playing up here. And and then now we're friends.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, that connection that you were talking about, that you're in this bar, you're in this place that there's only a few other people really. And
it's like your secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost too like, well, if the sound system failed, I'd still be able to hear the band. It'd still be kind of cool, just like a little intimate set. And so
unplugged.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. I did get to meet Ben.
What's that? You did get to meet him?
To meet Ben, yeah, in the early days, like because he's from Philadelphia.
Ah, okay.
Or from the Pennsylvania area.
Yeah.
And he used to play in Center City a lot. So I'd go to this bar and see him play live. And I wanted to tell him, how much I like his stuff. And we talked about Nick Lowe together because a lot of his stuff reminds me of Nick Lowe. And he's like, oh, yeah, Nick Lowe's awesome. I just want to, you want to kind of connect and see
if
it is one of his influences and stuff. And I gave him a tape of like a few of my early recordings and songs. And he was so nice. He was so cool. And he was like, oh, cool, Dad. Cool. I'm definitely going to listen to this. I'm definitely going to. He didn't call me. I didn't expect him to. But that's when I had aspirations of being a songwriter,
Oh, I didn't know.
But yeah, he's like one of my songwriting influences too.
Oh wow!
The
So
quirky
how long have you been following him?
Since the mid '80s, probably.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, long time, man.
I'm surprised I haven't heard the name, but I may have and just forgot it.
You may have heard his instrumental music
Yeah.
in shows and stuff, but yeah, he's like one of those under the radar guys. You know.
Cool. Okay. Next question. Next this or that. What did I say here? Read a book before a movie comes out or see the movie first?
I am not a read for pleasure guy.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, chances are I'll always see a film first. And I won't even have a curiosity to go back and read the book to compare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't interest you. You're not that.
Yeah, I absorb all my information through like visual, through YouTube and videos and TV shows and stuff like that. I just don't have it's bad, I guess, in a way, but I don't have the patience to just sit down and read a book. I don't have the patience for it.
I get it. Okay. Because the other argument against reading the books first is some people say, well, it gives away the movie. The suspense is all gone, or not suspense, but you know what I mean. Any surprises. And I'm actually pretty good at letting go of all that. Partly because books tend not to be exactly like the movies. So like the Tom Clancy, the Jack Ryan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I loved reading those books because it gave the characters more background. And the movies never followed the book.
Yeah, you feel more connected with the book.
I feel more connected with the information, with the property.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm able to let go of it enough, usually, to still enjoy the movie. That's the problem some people have is if they read the book first, then they watch the movie. They're like, well, that's not what it's like. They can't do this and they can't do that.
Yeah, with Game of Thrones and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they're different mediums. You can tell different stories.
Yeah.
So, but the one can inform the other. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I'll listen to somebody explaining, this is in the movie, this is not in the movie. I'll listen to that. Like I do have an interest in that. Like with for example, Daredevil. If you were going to tell me about the origins of Daredevil and what's different in the series as opposed to what's in the graphic novels or comics, yeah, I do have an interest. That does spark an interest, but probably not enough to investigate myself.
Right.
I'll watch a YouTube video of somebody that did all the work for me.
Right.
Here's the origins of Daredevil, of Bullseye and Elektra. Here's the first appearance of that character. I find all that stuff interesting, but yeah, I won't seek it out myself to read it.
Right. Well, that gives somebody on YouTube something to do for you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That gives them a viewer because they're willing to do it and you'll watch it. So that's cool. Okay. Did we answer that one? Did I answer that one? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like reading the books. So the next here, sub sandwich, your favorite, your choice.
Haji. Or
Hoagie. A mission burrito, also your choice. And by mission burrito, I mean those big, giant freaking burritos that.
Yeah, I guess a chipotle or Chipotle type burrito.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chipotle that's definitely a mission style burrito. I was thinking more. We have taquerias. You can't swing a cat without hitting a taqueria around here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always lots of choices. I forget, not every place is like here. So Chipotle is your mission burrito headquarters. I have a little place up here called Efren's that a buddy of mine introduced me to that they started in Pismo Beach or Grover Beach, and then we heard they were going to open another one in San Luis Obispo. Then we heard they were going to open another one up here, and I was never so excited when I found out this place was going to open up here because their food is so good, and you can go get this big old burrito, just yummy. Now I'm making myself hungry. But yeah, so that's why. But
see, I'm a big fan of like crunchy bread.
Yeah.
Oh, a crunchy roll, like a French loaf with
Yeah.
sesame seeds. Man, with when the taste of tomato and olive oil and sharp provolone cheese that'll make tiles fall off the wall, you know? Huh.
Well, I think we have a winner.
I think I talked. Yeah, I was going to say. I think I talked myself into it. I mean, it's close, dude. Because you can make the hell out of a breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Like eggs and bacon or eggs and sausage with cheese and hash browns in there.
Yep.
Woo.
And
ketchup.
I was, it's funny. Your description of that sandwich is kind of what sold me right now too. Because you can get anything in a burrito. You can get so many different choices and flavors and a fresh tortilla and all that stuff. But like you said, in my experience, a burrito like that tends to all run together. It all becomes one big flavor, which is great too. I love that. But when you can taste the tomato, when you can taste the pickle,
the combination of
a sandwich and the crunchy bread. Oh man, a good
toasted.
Sometimes
toasted.
That's just that. Man, you're right. I agree.
Well, I sold you, huh?
You did. Just your description of it. I was like, because I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to say right there.
Do you have a Primo's there?
You don't have a Primo's.
Okay, but you're aware of it. You're aware of that
no
franchise? Oh, okay. It's a hoagie franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. And they make a lot of like that's what they make. They make hoagies like that with that bread, and they have and they all have like, catchy names like the neighborhood or the Bada Bing, stuff like that. And they have one, I think it's called the neighborhood. It's like slices of provolone, like aged provolone, not that sliced stuff, aged chunks of provolone and pepperoni.
Oof.
And then you can add peppers if you want, and you can dress it up any way you want on that crunchy bread.
Really
Woo, hoo ha! Did you ever see? Well, Tom Papa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big bread baker now.
Is he really?
Oh yeah. He's almost known for that as much as comedy right now. So he's been on Rogan like a bunch of times this past year, like 5 times, and he'll always bring a loaf of bread, like freshly baked bread.
And he's selling it?
And no. He bakes it.
He bakes it for himself.
He bakes it for his family and for friends, and he gives it to friends. And he'll bring it to Rogan, and they'll they get the big knife and they'll cut into it. And it's like, oh my God, that sounds delicious. Oh man,
no bread.
Yeah, I mean, and because I stay away from that stuff, so I haven't had that in in a while. I haven't had the crunchy bread in a while.
Good for you.
Yeah,
that's the hard part.
Well, I think we exhausted that subject.
I think we did. Okay, last one. Oh no, that was it. That was the last one.
Okay.
I'm just I think you're right. We did exhaust that one. Good Lord. Made myself hungry. Jeez, Pete.
Yeah. These Sundays turn out to be one of my fasting days.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. So, because I make it, to about the time we're about to record, and I'm like, I'll just wait until after. And they tell you not to go shopping when you're hungry, but I do have to hit the supermarket.
If you know that going in, it helps.
Well,
Half the time I go in, I walk in and I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. And I'm like, why am I? Oh, you haven't eaten dinner or you haven't eaten yet. So that's why.
self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness, Bill, like TV,
Definitely.
like those
Definitely.
commercials. Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, our buddy Aaron deserted us this week. And I don't feel that bad about it. It's not like she's obligated or